What an episode this was, and because of the episode named Tribe, this did have a feeling of native culture, and the species that came in mind were the Wookiees. And yes, it also meant that we got to see Gungi in this episode. So let's just jump into today's episode 6 review video, shall we? We start off with the batch flying over to the Vanguard Axis as they are on another delivery mission for Sid. Hunter, Wrecker, and Tech are the ones that are making delivery, while Echo and Omega are on guard duty over the ship. The trio makes it over to the front desk for the leader to ask if they have the forgeries, and Wrecker hands over the case of chain codes. The leader wants to make sure of their viability, yet Tech points out that he made them himself and there is no need to worry about it. But it didn't matter because the leader still wants to find out for himself, and he assigns another droid to make sure they are worth it. Back with Echo and Omega, she feels something is off about the place, which Echo agrees, but he says they won't be there for long and goes over to prep up the ship. Once Echo leaves, Omega hears a Wookie growl from a distance, and being the curious one she is, she goes off on her own to find where it's coming from. From a distance, behind cargo boxes, she sees a child Wookie getting tased by two droids and shouts at the droids to stop hurting him. By distracting the droids, the Wookie uses the moment to attack both of them, though in need of Omega's help as well. The two are attempting to run away from more droids until the Wookiee looks through a weapon box to find something he needs. By this time, Echo comes in to find Omega with the Wookiee, and she tells him that the droids are after the Wookiee that decided to run off. Unfortunately, the Axis leader finds out about the situation from his comlink and walks off from the trio, which causes Echo to warn Hunter that they need backup. Once the Axis leader comes to find what's going on, his blaster gets shot from the other three and finds out that the Wookiee was going to be smuggled alive. By having his back turned, the Wookiee finds what he was looking for on the leader, so he decides to use the Force to retrieve it back and light it up to come to realize that he is surviving Padawan Gungi. With enough blaster fire and lightsaber blocks, the group makes a hasty escape out of Anaxis alive, even with Gungi's hesitation to board on the ship. Omega notices he was sitting away from the group since he's been through a lot, so she decides to feed him their rations. Once the group decided to come over, Gungi lets out a growl, knowing that since the clones were the ones who executed the Jedi, he has good reasons to be cautious. Hex quotes out. With Hunter's assurance of telling Gungi that they didn't follow the order and Omega eases him up to eat, Gungi gets slightly comfortable to eating and tells him his name. I just struggled a bit when Hunter said that his Wookiee is rusty, since the correct term in Gungi's language is Shirwook. With text translating with Gungi's saying, Gungi has been on the run since Order 66 and was trying to get back to Kashyyyk. Lucky enough, Hunter knows of a village there that can help out Gungi, and so the group makes their way to Kashyyyk. But the group has to only hope that there aren't too many Imperial outposts in the way. Okay, I bet lightsabers have a lot of nicknames maybe, but by far my favorite is when Hunter calls it like laser sword. So the group then lands and starts making their way towards the village, and even with some bumps on the way like kinrafts that won't attack if the group poses a threat. But unfortunately the group finds out that the village was incinerated by the Empire, and seeing Gungi fall on his knees likely assumes that this was his village. But then there's a sound coming from the other side, and the group follows to find Trandoshans with Imperial tanks in hand. But we see one of them contacting their commander, Venamore, and that they found more carved stones, and Venamore tells them to burn them to dust. Oh yeah, they also have a Wookiee as hostage that is definitely the same color like Chrysanthemum from Book of Boba. Apparently Gungi decides to help release the Wookiee that causes a scene, and so the group helps out and prevents the fire from spreading further. Once that was out of the way, the same Wookiee hostage came back with two other Wookiees to take the group to their village. The group is introduced to the leader, Yana, and Hunter explains to her that Gungi needs to be with his people, Jedi or not. We then find out that the Trandoshans are actually helping the Empire, since we see a few stormtroopers with them. Venamore is actually there to see what caused the casualty, and one of the stormtroopers points out the lightsaber markings. The other trooper points out that it needs to be notified at Imperial Command, but Venamore wants to find out first before they do so. Even for 100 Wookiee pelts. I feel so bad for what the Wookiees went through. Back at the village, just a moment of the beverage that Wookiees drink catches Wrecker's attention, and yet it disgusts Echo so much to decline the offer. Tech translates that Yana said that they have to leave since the convoy is heading towards the direction of the village. But of course, we have a good soldier Echo here that wants to help out the Wookiees. And this time, Hunter actually agrees to help the Wookiees. Yana gets the other Wookiees' attention to place their hands on the tree root to ask the trees for help. Once sun rises up, Echo and Wrecker are on the lookout to find the convoy is heading their direction, and lets the group know about it. Yana and the Wookiees finish communicating, and Gunji lets the group know that the trees have a plan, and so the group follows them. So to recap on the trees' plan, the idea is to remove their tracks and cause an ambush towards the tanks. But the main objective is to draw them in the nest, and just Wrecker imitating a Wookiee growl is honestly the best for him. Though a few Wookiees get killed, Gunji decides to rush in and help out, which catches Venomor's attention and starts going after Gunji himself. Omega follows him as the Wookiees wake up the Kinrath to start attacking the remaining enemies. Back with Gunji and Venomor, it's apparent between the two who won as Kinrath's next meal. With a victory in hand, we get back to the village for Wrecker just being a Wookiee and for Echo to finally open up with the beverage. And we get a final moment with Gunji and Omega communicating with the trees as Hunter watches to see them being kids as long as they are during this war. This episode has so much meaning to it, and the Wookiees are just a lot of fun to have as an episode. And honestly, this proved that this was more of the deleted scene from Season 7 of Clone Wars, with a few changes towards it, of course. But my only worry still is that was Gunji the only surviving Padawan from the group he came from? My thoughts say yes, but who knows if anyone else will show up for this season. But this was a 10 out of 10 for me, not only because of Gunji, but the fact that we are also getting development from Hunter to start opening up with kids and slowly opening up to helping others in need like Echo does. And yes, I did make this review delayed since the script was so long to read, and by now we are heading into our second 2-episode day, and we all have to be prepared for Palpatine, and likely Rex as well. But if you guys got anything to comment about for this episode review, leave them down in the comments, and I'll see you for the intense episodes we will get soon. Bye!